In an era defined by strict social codes, fashion became the language through which Victorians expressed who they were and who they wished to be. This is the world of Victorian fashion for the men and the women who lived within its elegant, tightly stitched boundaries.
Welcome to the Literally Victorian podcast with your host, Matthew Ian Edson.
Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Matthew and I'm very glad to be with you once again. I hope you're all doing very well indeed. We begin our interest in the 1840s with Queen Victoria newly crowned. For women, the fashionable silhouette was narrow, modest and steeped in domestic virtue. Bodices were tight and demure, with sloping shoulders that gave women a delicate, sheltered appearance. Sleeves hugged the arm, skirts expanded gradually with layers of petticoats. The ideal woman was serene, gentle, and above all, respectable. Fabrics were often dark, soft, and elegant. Silks, satins, fine wools, and printed cottons. Hair was parted severely in the centre, drawn down smoothly over the temples, and coiled in buns at the nape of the neck. Men, meanwhile, embraced a sober dignity. Tailcoats with narrow waists, high collars, and dark fabrics that reinforced a Victorian sense of masculine control. A gentleman's attire changed little from day to evening, except for the introduction of the formal black tailcoat at night. The early Victorian look was one of order, propriety, and restraint. Fashion as moral expression. By the 1850s and 60s, everything expanded. Women's skirts grew wider and wider, supported by a new invention, the crinoline, a dome-shaped cage of steel hoops. Suddenly, skirts could reach breathtaking width, 4, 5, even 6 feet across. It was revolutionary, liberating women from the weight of 15 petticoats. But it also symbolised the increasing theatricality of Victorian fashion. Bright colours appeared, a sign of new synthetic dyes, alongside floral trims, lace and ribbons. Day dresses featured high necklines and long sleeves. Evening gowns exposed the shoulders and shimmered in candlelit ballrooms. The crinoline made a woman both impressive and fragile, graceful yet impractical, elegant yet flammable. It was beauty on a grand scale. Men's fashion adjusted subtly. Frock coats lengthened, trousers grew slimmer, and beards swept across the nation. A well-groomed beard became the Victorian symbol of maturity, wisdom, and robust masculinity. Together, men and women created an image of stability and splendour, the empire at its height, dressed in its finest. By the 1870s, the crinoline deflated. In its place came the bustle. This padded or metal framework at the back of the skirt created a pronounced curve behind the wearer, forming a silhouette that swept backwards dramatically. Fabrics were draped, pleated, pulled and sculpted into elaborate forms. The bustle was architectural, clothing became structure and fashion became engineering. Bodices grew tighter, emphasizing the waist. Sleeves remained narrow but ended in frills or lace. Patterns became bolder, with stripes, checks and rich brocades. The bustle era embodied Victorian confidence, complex, ornamental, and unapologetically extravagant. Men's fashion reached what many considered its peak, the three-piece suit. A matching coat, waistcoat, and trousers became the uniform of the Victorian gentleman. The bowler hat emerged for daytime practicality, the top hat remained essential for formal occasions. Victorian men were expected to be well-tailored, tidy, and understated. For women, fashion was a performance, For men, it was discipline. Victorian fashion was also shaped by innovation. The Industrial Revolution changed everything. Factory-made fabrics became affordable. Sewing machines increased speed and accuracy. Synthetic dyes introduced brilliant colours. Paper patterns allowed home dressmaking, and department stores transformed shopping. Clothing once accessible only to the wealthy could now be imitated by the middle class, though never quite matched in quality. This created a new tension. Fashion became a battleground of class identity. To dress well was to prove one's respectability. To dress poorly was to risk judgment in a society obsessed with appearance. Victorian women were never fully dressed without their accessories. Gloves were essential. To be seen barehanded was improper. Bonnets framed the face in ribbons and lace. Fans communicated social signals in ballrooms. Parasols protected pale complexions in the sun. Jewellery often held sentimental meaning, mourning cameos, lockets and hairwork. Even walking required equipment. The reticule, a small embroidered handbag. The chatelaine, a decorative belt hook that held keys, scissors or watches. Men, of course, had their own arsenal: pocket watches, walking sticks, cufflinks, gloves, signet rings and the omnipresent hat. Etiquette dictated not only what one wore, but how one wore it. Victorian fashion was as much behaviour as it was cloth. By the 1890s, the silhouette had shifted again. Bustles disappeared. Waists cinched tighter. Bodices fit like armour with high collars and leg of mutton sleeves that rose like sculpted wings. This was the Gibson girl era. Elegant, poised, refined. Heels returned. Skirts swirled around the feet, flaring slightly at the hem. Women's fashion expressed a new kind of confidence, even as social expectations remained restrictive. Men's clothing became the foundation of modern style. The lounge suit, the ancestor of today's business suit, emerged in the 1890s and soon dominated everyday wear. The Victorian era concluded not with extravagance, but with refinement. Fashion had grown leaner, cleaner, more modern. Above all, Victorian fashion was symbolic. It expressed class, who had wealth and who imitated it. Morality, modesty, restraint, propriety. Gender roles. Silhouettes reinforced femininity and masculinity. Technology, industrial power woven into fabric. Identity, a language spoken through stitches, seams and silhouettes. Victorian fashion was never simply about aesthetics. It was about belonging, or standing apart. Every skirt, every coat, every hat, every pair of gloves told a story. Though the era ended in 1901, Victorian fashion remains iconic. Gothic silhouettes, tailored suits, corsets and bustles, top hats and walking sticks, ball gowns and lace. We still borrow from the Victorians in costume dramas, historical documentaries, weddings, high fashion runways, and even everyday tailoring. Their clothing was elegant, elaborate, and expressive. But it was also deeply human, an attempt to create beauty, structure, and order in a rapidly changing world. The Victorians lived in an age of invention, industry, and empire, and through every stitch and silhouette, they revealed their hopes, their anxieties, and their place in society. In their fashion, we see not only the elegance of a bygone age, but the threads that still weave through our world today. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe to help my little channel grow. It really is appreciated. So until next time, have a good week, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.